when you think about him. Guys, he's still
Absolutely.
24 years young. You know what? It's like blonde Oliveira. How about lightweight Hooper? 3-fight win streak, 14-3 overall. Welcome back to the show, Chase Hooper. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Just enjoying the rain out here in Washington, so pretty good.
Rains all the time, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's my life.
It rains all the time in Florida too. Just hotter.
Yeah, that's fair.
First and foremost, my man, congratulations. UFC St. Louis a couple weeks ago. You were the highlight or one of the highlights of the show. So first of all, congratulations. Let's kind of start there. How did it feel to, one, fight in a massive crowd? They said it was the biggest gate in the history of fight nights. I think Dana White said 40% of the people were there for Chase Hooper. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So hopefully you get a kick in your next little negotiation salary. But how did it feel to fight for a big crowd in St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was my first time in 3 years. And, being high enough up on the card in like an area that UFC doesn't go to super often. So, the people were there for the fights early. So it was nice. By the time I fought, the arena was pretty full, which is a cool experience, having the energy of the crowd. It's fun being not quite the hometown guy, but the one they're rooting for, It's cool to hear them, cheer for me, that type of thing. I mean, it's a once in a, I don't know, like a lot of people don't get to experience that type of thing. So I'm very thankful for it. And it was a great time. I'm hoping that they're going to keep true to their word of doing less Apex shows and doing a lot more on the road. And a 3-fight win streak is definitely good for the contract negotiation stuff. That'll be done before the next fight. I guarantee it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And before you go out, I got something that Chase said. Why do you think that the UFC fan, it's not your home state, it's not your hometown, you're fighting in St. Louis, but I felt the same thing watching it. I was like, dude, Chase is getting a pop right now. Like the crowd is behind Chase Hooper. Why do you think that is?
Well, they were very against the foreigners, so I'll take
okay.
it.
That
sounds like Missouri,
clause, right? Slava clause.
Pro America, so I'm down with that.
Okay.
They, even Jake Hadley, who's from the UK, like they were booing him. He was fighting. I think he fought Charles Johnson, right? He's fighting the hometown guy. So I get that, but wild to see him. Just I'll take all the positive energy I can get. I know if I end up fighting in one of these other countries someday and fighting their guy, I'm going to get booed. Not that it super matters, but it's always nice to have the crowd on your side for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. My question for you is, this move to lightweight has clearly been great for you. Like you're undefeated at lightweight. This was a good change for you. I think the primary criticism when we hear your career come up has always been like, oh, Chase Hooper got signed very young. And I want to know your thoughts on that. If you feel like this path was the perfect option for you, getting in at featherweight, getting in super young, and being able to develop inside the UFC, or if you could go back, would you wait a little bit and take some more fights before you got signed?
No, I mean, I had bills to pay and I was taking as many fights as I could get. I mean, it's one of those things, like the path is, whatever you need it to be. And the people criticizing are the ones that have never fought before in their lives. They've never walked into a gym. They never trained before. Like I'm just getting to the point where I don't, positive or negative, like I've learned to just take whatever the fans say with a grain of salt. Like, the people that say you're the best in the world, people that say you're the worst in the world, like neither of them are right. It's going to be somewhere in the middle, hopefully on the better end of the middle. But, it's one of those things where, I just am learning to not care what other people think, which is nice. But, I don't know. I mean, you can't fault anybody. This is my opinion, at least, is like, you can't fault somebody for taking the opportunities they're given. UFC felt like I was ready at the time, and that's where I was ready at that time. And, it's just an adjustment period. Like nobody besides the people that have fought in the UFC will understand the difference in the pressure from jumping up from a local casino, whatever, down the road, to now I'm flying to Las Vegas, fighting, in the T-Mobile Arena in front of, tens of thousands of people. That's a huge jump up in pressure. And then now all these people across the world are watching me on TV, watching on the pay-per-view, whatever. Like it's a huge step up, and there's an adjustment period. Like regardless of if I went in there at 18 or 28, like it would still be, not the easiest thing. It's a jump in the pressure. It's a jump in, the competition level, obviously. But now I'm here. My next fight will be my 10th one in UFC. And, I'm showing that I'm starting to hit my stride, and I'm ready to take these harder fights.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Before 25, like you're about to have your 10th fight. Oh, go ahead, Sabe. Sorry. I'll
no, that's amazing. Like I'm with you, Al. Like this, I was gonna go with the same kind of comment. It is insane. Did you watch the fight back? And I don't know if you heard a lot of the MMA media and some fans were like, what was the ref doing? Like, can the ref help Slavokov? Chase Hooper's murdering this man live on television. Did you watch it back and be like, dude, ref, you should have stopped this minutes ago? Or is that's the fight game? You got to do what you got to do.
It's one of those things where, and this is the same thing my coach told me between rounds is, Slava, he's doing enough whenever the ref's saying, hey, you got to move.
Right.
And, this is what Keith said in the rules meeting beforehand. Like, he comes and talks to everybody that he refs. All the refs do it. They're like, hey, I'm going to be reffing your fight. Just so you know, like, this is what I'm looking for. And essentially what he said is, hey, when I say you got to move, like, I'm giving you an opportunity to keep me from stopping the fight. You have to move into a better position. Like, if you're moving and you move yourself into a worse position, then I have to stop the fight. So I felt like Slava was doing just enough to keep the fight going, keep it from getting stopped. But, Keith was definitely making me work for it. But that's not my job at the end of the day. My job is not to determine when the fight stops. That's on the ref. My job is to, do as much damage to the other guy to make the ref want to stop it. And yeah, I mean, I was doing my job. He was doing his. Slava was doing his job. And yeah, I mean, it's just a shame that one of us has to get beat up for the other to make money. But that's the business.
That's the business. That's
absolutely.
This is a good question. Now, I don't know if you want to use it or not, but
yeah, no, great question. You brought up the stress and the difference of the pressure at the UFC, and Kaio was asking, like, how do you manage that adrenaline and pressure?
So I've had a lot of fights where it was kind of overwhelming. Just that pressure again, but I got really into sports psychology and like just doing stuff on my own. Like I never talked to anybody about it, but just like reading books about sports psychology and trying to use some of their strategies. Just realizing that like that pressure that you're feeling is like, that's the adrenaline. Like your body's trying to, it's a performance enhancing drug that your body makes. It's helping you get to that next level. And you don't get to feel that all the time because you need to save it for these special occasions.
Right.
Or, that's just a different way to think about it. And just, keeping in mind too that regardless of what happens in the fight, the people that do actually care about me, like the ones that I see every day, like they don't care whether you win or lose. Like they're just happy that you're okay. They're happy to see you after the fight and to have it been gotten over with. But honestly, this last fight I felt nothing really. Like walking out, I felt maybe just a little bit of like adrenaline in the morning. But the rest of the day, I felt very normal. I felt really cool, really calm. And I think, it helped me perform pretty well. Like I was able to get that pressure off of me and just, know that in the moment, my body's going to, make the right moves. I'm going to have the right instincts, firing and all that. And yeah, I mean, it worked out. So.
We talked to Dustin Poirier around 2 weeks ago on the show. We kept on talking about him finishing the story. His last fight, maybe fighting Islam Makhachev, a dominating champion, finishing the story, winning the championship, right in the sunset. It's your weight division. You're on a little fight win streak. You never know how close you can be and all that stuff. But prediction, next week, UFC 302 main event, Islam or Dustin? What you got?
I would say that my heart picks Dustin. I want to see him have that fairy tale.
All right, that's all you gotta say, Chase. It's over.
The brain picks, the killer from Dagestan. Like it's just such a tough matchup. It's one of these things where, and it sucks because this is how the sport is built. Is on, it's on you have to hurt these other people and you have to take away their accomplishments in order to build your own. Like.
Right.
You have to take away from their legacy to add on to your own. And I think that's, it sucks, but these guys that are at the end of their careers, like you don't get to go out on your own terms generally. Like 90% of the time, it doesn't end up well. Look at what DC's last fight. I think he lost to Stipe. Just these fights like this, all these people, especially when they start saying like, "Hey, I think I'm about to be done," like they might not be in it as much. And this is not a sport that you can do even, not even just halfway. You can't even do it 90%. You got to be all in. You got to be all ready. And I'm sure Dustin will be as ready as he can be, but it's a tall order. So I'm pulling for him for sure. But yeah, it's a tough one.
Very cool. Very cool. I got one or two more, Ellen, and if you want to jump in. Chase, a lot. I started, seeing who you were when you fought for Island Fights. Kind of funny thing. I'm wearing this shirt. And then all of a sudden you like bursted on the scene. You're on the same Contender Series with Michael Davis, who, I'm friends with. And then you did so much with Fight Pass. Like I think I coined you a couple times, Mr. UFC Fight Pass. You were so funny on it and show wise on it and content wise. Are you still super, intrigued with that kind of space in the MMA space and podcasting and creating fun content? Everything you did with Jorge was just classic. Are you still into that, or like you're just 24? You're probably in the 5 prime years of your fight career. Are you doing more of this? Where are you on doing this side of the fight game?
I would love to do more stuff with Fight Pass. It's just, it's trying to make myself as valuable to the company outside of just the cage fighting side of things. I have a good time doing stuff with Fight Pass. It's, maybe we'll get some stuff in soon, but I don't see why not. Like, I'm still able to train full time and all that. But it's just, trying to expand the horizons and not just focus on just the fighting aspect, like trying to get down the other sides of the sport and find ways to hopefully start making money outside of just the cage, at least on the fighting side of things, because it's a hard way to make a living, and it's at least smarter to maybe diversify that a little bit.
Speaking of diversifying that, it looks like the UFC Fight Pass is starting to really push the Fight Pass Invitational. We just saw Moicano obviously grapple on that this last week, and I know you've grappled him in a pro match. You grappled Aljamain Sterling. Is that something we could see you doing soon?
Yeah, I'll probably hit up Fight Pass pretty quick and start kind of asking about it. Honestly, I wouldn't mind getting something in over the summer. We'll have to see how all that shakes out, see what the options are. I like grappling other UFC guys. Like, I'd rather not just grapple somebody that's committed only to submission grappling. Like, that's
right.
I want somebody else that's splitting their time between striking and wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and it just makes more sense fighting other guys with some decent names, because there's so many killers out there on the jiu-jitsu scene that maybe nobody's ever heard of, so it's no reason to worry about getting injured. I just want to take fun matches and stay in that competitive mindset for sure.
I definitely think some of the MMA grappling matches I've seen are more fun to watch as well. And that might just be because I'm not a sport jiu-jitsu person, but would you agree, like, seeing that just the style in general tends to be a little more exciting?
A lot of times the very highest level of jiu-jitsu can be really boring. Like for gi jiu-jitsu, like black belt matches can be some of the most boring. It's like the purple and brown belts are the most fun because they know a lot. But they're not playing such a conservative game. Like, they're not trying to be as efficient as possible. Like, they're still doing wild stuff. And, you get that a lot from the MMA side of things. So, yeah, I think it's definitely more exciting.
Love that. Like I said earlier, I've been following your career and just even your life path and your journey for multiple years now. Even your wife, I followed your wife on socials. I know she's close, right? Aren't you guys really close to the end line? You know me as a dad. I got 4 kids of my own. You guys she's close, right?
Yeah, I think the due date's like mid-June.
Wow.
So the fight worked out perfectly, honestly.
Yeah.
We just pretty much told them, hey, I can't fight in June. Like, it's got to be before. Fight, and then now we get to focus on the baby stuff, and then take a couple months, whatever, over the summer and try to adjust the not sleeping, and then get back to fighting October, November, see what they offer me, And yeah.
This is a hypothetical conversation I've had with my husband a few times. Would you take a title fight on the same day that your wife is due with your baby? If it was like a random short notice opportunity, world title.
I would not take that fight against Islam. I guess unless
Fair
you're
enough.
like a million flat, maybe. But
let's pretend
no,
the money is good enough that you would take it, and the only
I don't
factor
know.
is the baby.
Probably not for like our first kid. I feel like that'd be a little messed up. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully they don't have that offer. But yeah, I probably wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
We're breaking news like Dustin Poirier is out at UFC 302. Chase Hooper's taking a short notice. The baby's the next day. It's going to be just chaotic. The one thing I would say to you, Chase, man, I feel like it's almost like fighting. Being a dad and raising kids, you're going to have your highest highs and some of your lowest lows. And to me, that's almost like fighting the UFC. I would assume there's nothing like winning a UFC fight with a big crowd. Like you said, people are cheering for you. But when it doesn't go your way, you train for 4 months and weight cut and all the other bullshit you have to deal with. And then if you take an L, it's like, I hear it's just the worst. You just want life to end, it feels like sometimes. But that's kind of like being a dad. It's your highest highs and your lowest lows, my man.
Sure. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. So
awesome, man. Anything else?
No, thank you so much, Chase. It was really nice meeting you.
Chase is the man.
Hey,
Chase, dude, we always appreciate your time, brother. We really do. Thank you a lot. And please share your wife the best. And we can't wait, man. Congratulations on everything that's happening to you.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Chase Hooper. There we go. The dream. Chase Hooper. Dude, he's a stud. 14-3. Like 14-3. And it's so
Great
funny.
record.
Like,
yeah.
Dude, I'm just saying, if he keeps on winning, then maybe Chase and Grant's paths are going to cross.
No, it could happen. I think we'll see Grant re-ranked
in 10 days
this year. I honestly, I don't know if they would rank him off the Selecki win or not. It would kind of just depend.